Welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages, with your host, Matthew Shipp. This is the podcast for all of those who are involved in the agriculture all the way to the distribution of beverages. And now your host, Matthew Shipp.
Welcome, everyone. So excited to be with you today. Dallas Amston here, and I am talking with Matthew Shipp. He is the owner of Emberry Solutions, but also he is the host of this brand new podcast that I am so excited to talk to him about. It's called Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages. Mr. Matt Shipp, how are you, man?
Doing all right. Thanks for the interview.
No, thank you. I'm excited about this podcast. I'm excited to see where this is going. So Harvest to Pour, let's examine the name. Talk to me a little bit about why this show, Harvest to Pour, business of beverages. Talk to us about it, Matt.
All right. Well, I really was, I have found myself somehow in the hospitality industry with in beverages, and those in the beverage industry, helping them out. And but what there is a lot of processes in getting a product from sourcing the material to being creative with that material to make it something uniquely their own. And
so we're talking beverage industry. We're talking
beverage
about
industry, yeah.
Coffee, wine,
beer,
distilleries, right?
Bourbon,
All of
you take your pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And
cool.
all those, and so basically, I'm really fascinated by what it takes for them to source all of this, create something uniquely theirs. Because there's thousands of beers and coffees, but each company somehow manages to make it uniquely theirs, and a lot of stuff that goes into that. And I kind of got fascinated with that, and I just I've been helping some out, and I thought this would be a great way to for other beverage industry owners, whether they are coffee, beer, to sort of share their successes and failures with each other. Yeah, I'm going to learn a lot from it, and I'm going to be able to help people more from what I learned, and I'm hoping they can learn from each other as well. Just kind of making this digital forum for them to listen to.
This is going to be great. I personally, I find this industry fascinating, and I think the exact thing you said there of the science of what they're doing, the craft, the art, all the skill that's involved. I'm excited about the success and failure stories too. I love highlights and blooper reels.
Yeah.
So take us back then. You said you found yourself in the beverage industry.
Yes.
How did we obviously know why you're passionate about this industry, and something led you to this. So talk to us a little bit about who Matt is and how you got to this point to get us to Harvest to Pour.
All right. Well, I did not start at a young age drinking bourbon, so let's get that out of the way.
It all began 2 decades ago.
No. So I've always had for as long as I remember, a consistent interest in just nature and specifically plants. And I'm always asking why. I'm constantly asking questions. I think, Dallas, you know that firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
And
one of the things I love about you, man.
And that that eventually led me into, for a while, a career in the sciences. And I was a molecular plant biologist for 16 years. And that research and that discovery, and with that, even within a plant, there are pathways, how the plant operates. And once I, became aware of that and the processes, and all of this overlapped into from plant pathways to the way I do things in the laboratory and how you discover. And it's the whole creativity of problem solving. And so I kind of, really developed a passion for visualizing it. So I'm a very visual learner. So even in, before I started working with the beverage industry, I was always really wanting to visualize how all these things happen. That's how I taught myself. And eventually I started to help others visualize their challenges in a laboratory when there's a lot of process, a lot of protocol, and a lot of people keep everything up in their head. And the problem with that is that's kind of a ever-moving fluid space. Sure. And once I got them out and would just say, just tell me what you do. And instead of writing it out bullet to point, I would kind of sketch out pieces that we all both understood. And whether it was a Petri plate or something we were doing seeds, it didn't matter. But through that visual process, they were discovering, not without my help, they were discovering their own bottlenecks in what they were doing, and they were able to quickly rectify those and solve those. And it was really funny because every time I would start doing this, I would never finish a process before they'd stop me and say things like, "Is that what I'm doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. You just told me." And they were discovering
I can only
it
go on the
their
info
own.
you're giving me.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, I don't know. And so, yeah, and how I got here is eventually I got into the more industrial side of research, and they kind of stuck me in a broom closet and had me do the same thing over and over again. So effectively really removing me from that problem solving and asking why. And I just over time kind of burn out, but I always used that processed visualization to help other people. And that's what I kept on doing. I'm like, well, I'm enjoying this. So I pivoted, stepped out into the world and said, I have this unique skill set that I've, I guess, unexpectedly developed over time. Who else needs it? And through that, I started kind of putting my hang your, what was that, chip, your shingle, that's what it is, hang your shingle out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And I started, sort of long discovery of trying to figure out what this was. So I discovered the world of UX. I discovered the world of service design, and a couple other more like digital transformation. And just because the philosophy worked, it was, what they were doing was basically the scientific process with the human element thrown in. And
Good way to
I
say
liked it, but what I didn't like is I didn't want to make apps. I didn't want to do digital stuff. And so I flipped it on its ear and said, there's a lot of non-digital problems to solve. And the first people that really seemed, as I put it out there, really grasped onto that was the hospitality industry. They're a service-based industry. They have things have to happen, the next thing. And I started working, the first person that picked me up was a coffee shop. And once I got in the coffee shop and deeper in, I was just helping them to align some processes, kind of refocus their team so they could, bring up the problems that really mattered.
Yeah.
What I discovered was I had found sort of my way back to my ag tech background.
Interesting.
I was working in. So now I'm just on the other side of it. Initially, I was doing the bleeding edge of plant biotechnology, and now I'm seeing the product that brings in, them sourcing, them figuring out how to make this raw product their own and creating a product out of it. So that's where the harvest to pour comes from.
Man, I love that. My mind is popping with you're helping them with the people, the processes, the science, the product, all of it. And I love the element of what you do in the visualization. And for those of you who don't know Matt's work, it's a really fun, creative process that is unique in problem solving. I've not seen anything like it, and I've worked with a lot of people in the consulting industry. But I love that you found this niche of the harvest to pour, the beverage industry. I'm assuming, Matt, that some of these episodes you'll be imbibing some of the product you're working with, maybe, or talking over a cup of coffee, or.
That would be awesome. I don't know where this is going to go, but that would be a bonus. I hope to be in person more than over a call. So I'd love to meet them where they are, and I hope that actually influences the talk some.
Sure. So you're not quite sure where that side of it's going to go. In person would be a heck of a lot of fun, obviously. But tell us, what can we expect in episodes, and what can listeners expect? Obviously, they're going to be learning about different beverages. They're going to be learning about the history of some of these companies and some of that. But what else can we expect in the Harvest to Pour podcast?
Well, I hope to talk to a lot of beverage industry owners, and also people to support them. There's bourbon societies out there. There's brew societies. There's coffee clubs, and talk to some of those people that connect with them and find out, this whole ecosystem around that.
Yeah.
And what makes them tick, what makes them grow, and really dive into, what's influencing them, the companies, and, how they grab the creative aspects of making those beverages, and helping them even maybe in the podcast, discover ideas that they haven't thought of. And often I find that with people just talking, you get out of your head and you'll say something, you're like, oh, that's a great idea, and write it down. I'm hoping to find some of those aha moments through this, because ideas are future profits. And most
for the owners, ideas
for
are
the owner,
future. So conversations that are going to spur those ideas in the moment, possibly,
and maybe
on
even
episodes.
Bring that creativity, because in any business, creativity is a lifeblood. You cannot, if you stay the same, you're doomed to fail. And so I hope to talk to industry experts, leaders, even people who source. I hope to talk to some people who source the hops farmers. I would love to be able to do that, or the green bean. There's companies out there that source just the green coffee bean. And that's a whole other game. And I got to interview somebody once, and it was very fascinating. I want to get back into it again. The challenges they have just with the shipping and keeping that product fresh from wherever they're taking it from Brazil or in South America or Africa, Kenya even, and getting it to the people in time to make that product. So there's a lot of neat challenges to unearth.
This is going to be, folks, this is going to be fun. If you're listening to this intro episode and you're thinking to yourself, man, I want to learn more about this beverage industry. I want to learn more about what makes it tick, the science behind it, how the production happens, hearing from different industry leaders and business owners, from small companies up to big companies. This is going to be a great podcast. So I encourage you today to not only subscribe right now, if you're listening, hit that subscribe button, but make it a place to stop every week and say, man, I'm getting new episodes. I'm assuming, Matt, we're going to be doing it like every week you're going to be putting it out?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot for every week.
Okay.
And if it gets more popular, then we'll up the ante.
Nice. I love it. So everybody, the podcast is Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages. Your host is going to be Matt Shipp here. I am so excited about listening to the first episode. I know you've got your first recordings here in the next couple of weeks, so I'm excited for it. Matt, can't wait to tune in. Everybody be sure and subscribe. Matt, anything else you want to tell anybody at the moment?
Nope. Just come along, learn with me. I'm going to be learning a lot, and more questions the better.
Love it. Live it up and drink it up. That's going to be fun. I don't think that's a slogan, but why not?
All right.
Awesome. Matt, thank you so much, man. Looking forward to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages with Matthew Shipp. Check the show notes for our guest contact information. And connect with Matthew Shipp on LinkedIn today.